Hi everyone, Orchid Dave here with you again. And a friend recently asked me if I could get him an orchid that would be fragrant, something he could grow in his house, and something that's easy to grow. So my wife suggested, why not a coconut orchid, a Maxillaria tenufolia, like we have here. So I said, that sounds like a great idea. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and uh, take a couple cuttings off of one of the maxillarias. I actually have two of them here, and go ahead and pot it up and let it grow in the greenhouse for a while, and then I'm going to give it to him. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take some moss here, and I'm going to go ahead and moisten it up a little bit. Now I only have, I'm going to use a 2-inch pot here, pretty small. I actually added some extra holes in the bottom for better drainage. So what I'll do is I'm going to take my hose and I'm going to take it on the mister setting, and I'm just going to kind of mist this moss a little bit here. And we don't want to get it all soaking wet, we really just want it to be moist. So I'll just keep kind of working it around a little bit here. And that's really about enough water. There's a couple spots here that are still a little dry. I might add just a little more. There we go. That should probably be plenty of water. So let me kind of just mix it around here a little bit. Some of the bad stuff. And now I have some nice moist moss. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm going to cut a couple pieces off of this Maxillaria here. Now you'll note that some of the growths have gotten fairly long, and so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut it off here. So in this particular case, I think I'm going to cut him off with about 4 pseudobulbs and a new one coming out right here. So let me go ahead and just kind of trim that off with a piece of razor blade here. There we go. I'm going to set that aside, and then I got another one on this side with again about 4 pseudobulbs and an extra piece. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim that guy off as well. And there we go. And then what I'll do is go ahead and set that here. I'm going to take a little cinnamon and I'm going to sprinkle it on the cuts that I just made. Let's see, it's right here. And what this does is it acts as an antibacterial, and it keeps, fungus and bacteria and so forth from getting in there. And if a little bit gets on the moss down here, that's no problem. Okay, I like to coat it nicely. That should be enough. And then we can take and set this guy aside. We won't need him anymore. And you can see we've got 2 nice pieces now. And like I said, each of them has 4 pseudobulbs, and there is a new growth on each of them, so that should be good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part here, and let me get a little closer to the camera so you can actually see this. And you see it's got like a kind of almost a sheathing on it here, and it's just old dry sheath. And if you take some of that off, what you'll notice is that there are roots underneath right here. And so if we just peel a little bit of that off, then what I can do is go ahead and take and put this guy into some moss, and he should be able to go ahead and root nicely. So that should probably be plenty. So I've done that with this one, and we do the same thing with this other one. Just so you can see it a little bit better. And you can see all of these pseudobulbs are capable of essentially producing a new plant because they all have little roots there. And so now I've pulled that off, and you can see there's some roots in here. So we'll go ahead and call that good. Now what I'll do is I'm going to take some of the moss, and the first thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to sprinkle some cinnamon on this one as well. So again, keep any bad things from getting in there. So it's nicely covered. And that one too. So those are both nicely covered now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some moss. I'm going to kind of put it around it here. And then I'm going to take the other one and put him here. I'm going to put some more moss around him. And my goal is to have it be about as big as my pot. So what I can do is I just kind of mold it around it here. And I just take it, shove it into the pot here. And voila, I now have a new Maxillaria plant. So the final step that I will do is to actually write a tag for it. And again, as I mentioned, this is the coconut orchid, so it's a Maxillaria tenufolia. And so I'm going to put it on here. Maxillaria. And this is October of 2021, so 10/21. That way we know when it was potted up. Put that in there, and now it's all ready to go in the greenhouse. So you can see it's nicely potted up. It's ready to go. It has the roots that you saw earlier. And so this should be a nice little plant in another month or two. It should have plenty of roots, and I will go ahead and give it to my friend. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and keep tuned for more.